is just fantastic. Captain's Log, Subdates 220118.9. I, over the weekend, built a Lego guitar, ate a feckload of cake, and spent that weekend cleaning my quarters, because my crew decided to tinfoil it all and, well, override the lock, preventing me from exiting. Yes, they're all going to suffer for this. Welcome everyone to the Halls of Injustice. Today we welcome inmate number 111 to the ISO cubes. The man in question is called Guy Sims. No, he is not a generic name from a video game, although I could fully understand and appreciate how he might seem that way. Guy Sims, or Inmate 111, committed a crime. I know, shocker, right? But what makes this more amusing and serious is the fact that for quite a number of years, the 53-year-old from Bedford was a civil barrister, meaning he worked in law, so him breaking the law is quite serious. For the crimes that Guy Sims committed, there is a considerable amount of travel and grooming involved. The word grooming should be the, giveaway as to what it is Guy Sims did, along with using the internet to sate his hunger for younger blood. So with that all in mind, let us now go through the series of events that led up to and include his arrest. Disclaimer: all crimes committed by Guy Sims predate coronavirus, so if anyone wonders how he was travelling, it happened long before that. In fact, all of his crimes happened before COVID, but only very recently ended in a conclusion. The 53-year-old from Bedford took his desires to certain social media platforms, the more notable of which were MyLol and Kik. Now, if you've heard of Kik before, chances are you know what it's about. Essentially, the majority of groomers that have been caught on that place. It is where people go to send lewds and nudes, or to entrap other people. Anyone that thinks it's for anything other than that is deluded. And no lie, I have never heard of MyLol. As one word, I had believed it was part of a drug name. Clearly, I was wrong. On those sites or platforms, he would use alternate names. For one, he would call himself Mark Bat X, one word. And on another, Mark Viva, also one word. It was on these platforms that he made arrangements to meet up with people, going so far as to offer to travel to meet these people. These people were teenage girls, with the youngest believed to have been 13. Put air quotations around the word girls though please, we'll get to that momentarily. In September 2017, Guy Sims was talking to two people who he believed were 13-year-old schoolgirls. He later arranged to meet up with one of these schoolgirls, travelling 150 miles from Cambridge to Portsmouth, with the intention of engaging in sexual activity with one of these 13-year-old girls. When he arrived at the designated location, he was arrested by police officers, and a search was conducted. It was then that they found he had cider, a condom, as well as camouflage leaf netting in his car. It was also discovered upon searching his phone and his history that he had in fact made plans to meet another of these girls, either on his way home or on the way to Portsmouth on the same day for sexual activity. Now, there is one more person we need to add to this, but for that we have to skip ahead, because while he was under investigation, on October the 31st, 2019, Guy Sims engaged in conversation of a sexual nature with a third person that he believed to be a 13-year-old schoolgirl, yet again under another fake name. In this instance, his names were Yo Sarami and Danny.Dan, with him planning to meet up with this person in Oxford to then have sex with them, which is not what it is, even if they were real. Because of his connection with the offences in 2019, he was charged with additional offences. The main count that he was charged with 3 times was arranging or facilitating commission of a child sex offence. The specialist officers who performed the investigation are part of the Southeast Regional Organised Crime Unit, or SOROKU, as is their acronym, and it took them 4 years to finish this, which either means they did a fantastic job, and I'm sure the sentence will reflect that, or there were delays caused by other mitigating factors. One possible delay could well have been the coof. So perhaps now we should have a look at the UK Sex Offences Act of 2003, so as to best understand what could happen, and then what happened next. Sexual Offences Act of 2003, Section 14. Arranging or facilitating commission of a child sex offence. 1. A person commits an offence if a. He intentionally arranges or facilitates something that he intends to do, intends another person to do, or believes that another person will do in any part of the world, and b. Doing it will involve the commission of an offence under any of sections 9 to 13. 2. A person does not commit an offence under the section if he arranges or facilitates something that he believes another person will do, but that he does not intend to do or intend another person to do, and b. Any offence within subsection 1b would be an offence against a child for whose protection he acts. 3. For the purposes of subsection 2, a person acts for the protection of a child if he acts for the purposes of a. Protecting the child from sexually transmitted infection, b. Protecting the physical safety of the child, c. Preventing the child from becoming pregnant, or d. Promoting the child's emotional well-being by giving of advice, and not for the purposes of obtaining sexual gratification or for the purposes of causing or encouraging the activity constituting the offence within subsection 1b or the child's participation in it. 4. A person guilty of an offence under this section is liable a. On summary conviction, to imprisonment for a term not exceeding 6 months, or a fine not exceeding the statutory maximum, or both. b. On conviction on indictment, to imprisonment for a term not exceeding 14 years. When it comes to the trial itself, there's only one detail I can add that I've yet to actually introduce, and that's because all the articles I have sourced, linked in the pinned comments down below, all of them are essentially word for word copy and paste, meaning that we're not going to get much additional information from that. So the one additional detail that was found was that in the 2019 incident, he had claimed that he wanted to see if police officers were on the web hunting potential paedophiles. With what happened next, I'm not entirely sure they believed him, because after 4 hours of deliberation, a jury convicted him, found him guilty on all 3 counts, which means we go from this to sentencing and the guidelines. So Guy Sims, inmate number 111, found guilty of 3 counts of arranging or facilitating commission of a child sex offence by a unanimous jury, was sentenced to 3 years and 6 months in prison. He will also, as a consequence of his actions because of what he did for a living, be disbarred. There is no mention in the articles I've linked as to whether or not Guy Sims will be placed on the sex offenders register as well. This one's a bit of a weird one though, because all the victims in this were fake, and also the UK does not keep a public sex offenders register. You have to get the information from the police and apply for it on a .gov website. So what does the sentencing guidelines state? Triable either way with a maximum sentence of 14 years custody. When sentencing a section 14 offence, sentencers should refer to the guideline for the applicable substantive offence or arranging or facilitating under sections 9 to 12 of the Sex Offences Act of 2003. The level of harm should be determined by reference to the type of activity arranged or facilitated. Where the activity takes place, sentences should commensurate with the applicable starting point, and range will ordinarily be appropriate. No sexual activity need take place for a section 14 offence to be committed, including in instances where no child victim exists. In such cases, the court should identify the category of harm on the basis of the sexual activity the offender intended, and then apply a downward adjustment at step 2 to reflect the fact that no or lesser harm actually resulted. The extent of this adjustment will be specific to the facts of the case. In cases where an offender is only prevented by the police or others from conducting the intended sexual activity at a late stage, or where a child victim does not exist and, but for this fact, the offender would have carried out the intended sexual activity, a small reduction within the category range will usually be appropriate. Where, for instance, an offender voluntarily desisted at an early stage, a larger reduction is likely to be appropriate, potentially going outside the category range. As Guy Sims pled ignorant to an extent during the trial with the remark that he was looking for what the police were looking for, one can safely surmise he did not get a significant reduction. But as far as what we believe here go at the Halls of Injustice, 3 years and 6 months with a maximum of 14 years is not a good sentence for us, even if the victims were all fake. So our sentence, because we're dicks, will be 14 years in custody, spent on Titan. Now, as we are done, I would like to know very much what you think. Please do let me know in the comments down below. Hope you'll have a great day, and thank you all very much for listening.